Okay, we're back, and I've sanded everything off to touch. I did have enough build up here, so the profile, I mean, I won't say it looks perfect, but I'm happy. So if we just put it down there, and I'm going to apply a combined primer and filler. So it'll prime the surface. I've scuffed this all up so it keys in well. This will prime the surface for the top coat of paint, but it's a filler too. So any of the little scratches that I haven't sanded out will be filled. So I've shook this for 5 minutes. The can says 3, so I did it for 5. So there should be no problems. It's dribbling. Why for is it dribbling? Looking better already, don't you reckon?
Maybe you should do the whole card that colour.
Camera boy just made a suggestion that I paint the whole car that colour. Well, you wouldn't want to paint your car in this, because this being a primer filler, it's hydroscopic. Which means it absorbs moisture. And you don't really want your outside paint of the car absorbing moisture and drawing it through to the metal inside. I just empty the spray nozzle. We have to wait for a minute now before the second coat. I'm going to put 4 or 5 coats on this, so it'll be a minute between each of them. I can see a piece that I've missed down the bottom there, but I'm not particularly worried, because I am going to flip it over and do the other side as well. So what I don't get from this side, I'll pick up from the other side. So when camera boys finish the walk around, we'll go on to pause, and I'll bring you back for the next coat. Take 2.
I'm not getting as close as I normally do because I don't want to get close to the front.
Okay, leave that for another 30 seconds or 60 seconds, whatever they say. Well, here we are back again. As you can see, the spray putty has been put on all over the guard, inside and outside. This is a primer spray putty, so once I get the spray putty down to where I want it, I can spray directly on this. I'm not looking for a concourse finish. I want it to look good from 3 metres away. So I note in the spray putty that there's a couple of little scratches and dents. I'm not going to chase those out. I'm not going to knock it back and then put some more spray putty in. All I'm going to do now is use some wet and dry sandpaper and just smooth the top, ready for the top coat. When I say smooth it, if you run your hand over it now, there's a slight rough texture from the spraying of the spray putty. So all I'm going to do is knock that back, smooth it out until I can feel a glass-like finish on the top of this, and then we clean it up and we're ready for the top coat. So we'll just start on this. Now I've got a bucket of water down here and a sponge and my little bit of wet and dry. I'm using, what was I using? Where's the bit there? I'm using 1500 wet and dry. Why am I using 1500? Because that's what I had. All right, so we'll just keeping it nice and wet. Making sure that the edges are nice and smooth. I can see several little scratches that if I was doing this to a high quality finish, that I would sand this back and then hit it again with spray putty and keep on doing it until I had a completely smooth finish. But I'm just not going there with this.
see you concentrating because you're sticking your tongue out.
Well, I won't concentrate as much and I'll pull my tongue in then. Some of the smaller scratches, because we put a few coats of spray putty on, so some of the smaller scratches, if I just keep rubbing in that spot and not break through all of the layers of the primer, they'll rub out, and that's what I'm doing here. There's one I can see. You see I'm just cresting through the primer there, so I won't do any more sanding there. Now this corner is visible, so I want to get all around this. Now, cameraman can have a feel and attest to the fact that the surface feels glass-like now.
Yeah, pretty damn smooth.
Yeah. So the next step is we move out up this way. And I'll very gently put it on the ground in the sun, and I'm going to give it a spray down. And we'll leave it in the sun to dry, and I'll bring you back in a few minutes when it's dried and we're ready to hit it with the first coat. Okay, it's nice and dry. I've set these couple of hooks up here. I'm just going to see which will be the best way. In fact, maybe for the first coat, oh, it's got water on it still. It's got some water on it. That might be a good spot to try the first coats. I've been down to Supercheat using the colour code off of the VIN on the car. I've had them mix the exact colour. I've shaken this for 5 minutes as recommended on the can, and we're ready to go.
Do they take into account fading of the original colour?
No.
So it's going to look different.
They recommend 5 light coats.
I won't stand back a bit, I'm getting face for it.
Whoops. I got to run, but fortunately, it's on the inside of the guard. Okay, that's the first coat. "15 minutes between coats." So we let that dry off for 15 minutes and then we'll be back to put the next coat on. Okay, 15 minutes has gone by. We're ready for the second coat. I mentioned before that Supercheap Autos mix the paint for me. For anyone who's interested, that's the paint code for the colour of the paint I'm using. Okay, for my 2004 smart car, which is sitting just there. Okay, back to the next layer. Another 15 minutes and we're ready for coat number 3. When this is dried off this time, I'm going to move it slightly because, as you can appreciate, there's certain shadow areas from the way it's sitting on the tree. So the next coat I'll reorientate it to pick up those shadow areas. All right, we will be back in 15. Enough to touch. Maybe I need to. And this is the trouble, the wind's going to make it move. Okay, we're back again. Coat number 3. Yeah, the inside doesn't need as many coats. Bit awkward spraying from this angle, but I'm putting it fairly thick on the inside. I don't care if we get runs on the inside. This is the problem, it's starting to swing in the okay. That was coat number 3, and what I'll do when I come back for coat number 4, because remember we're going for 5 coats, when I come back for coat number 4 I'll reorientate it again, so that I hopefully have got coverage everywhere. So another 15 minutes to have a cup of coffee, and I'll be back again. Coffee break. Just trying to work out what's the best way to put it for the next coat. Will that stay like that? Should do, shouldn't it?
You want to do on the inside there, down the bottom?
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's number 4. So we'll be back for number 5. Well, here we are again. The final coat, number 4. and the can's empty. So there were exactly 4 coats. So we're going to let that dry for 40 minutes now, and then well, here we are again. We're onto the clear coat on the top. I'm using the Sepultone clear coat. 3 to 4 layers. I'll assess that as we go, and a 5-minute flash off time between layers. So here we go with coat 1. I'm not going to clear coat the inside of the guard. That's the outside because that's where I want to shine. So I'll be back in 5 minutes when it's time for the next coat. Okay, number 2. The wind's come up. Okay, back in 5 minutes. Okay, here we go with what should be the final coat, but when this one's flashed off a bit, I'll assess as to whether I want to put another one on after this one. The wind has died down a little bit, so I won't be losing as much of my spray this time. So let's see how we go. I should be able to wet it out better this time. It's coming out much better this time. Before, with the strong breeze blowing, it was hard to get it to wet out properly. I'll see if I can bring you in for a look. As I said before, it's not concourse. There are a lot of imperfections in my sanding and preparation, but if it looks reasonable from a few metres, that suits me. So I'll bring you back when that one's flashed off, and it'll either be today, because I'm going to put another clear coat over the top, or it'll be at least in 24 hours time, because once the final layer of clear coat is on, you leave it for 24 hours to cure off properly before doing anything with it. So I'll be back, whether I'll be wearing this shirt because it's today, or whether I'll have a different shirt on, you'll be able to tell. Okay, catch ya.